Yeah.
Isn't it Horton or
Horton
that's
is
just?
my last name. But most people know me by Aaron Rennel. It's my stage name and my middle name actually. So
Oh, okay. Wow, that's
yeah.
cool. And did you grow up in Erie?
I grew up in Erie, and North Carolina. I spent about half of my life in Erie and half of my life in North Carolina. So grew up in both places. Got lifelong friendships in both places.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So like high school there and.
Now high school, I went to high school here. I went to prep for a year, and then I went to Mercier's prep for the next 3 years where I graduated. But all of my like primary school and elementary, middle school, I went to school in North Carolina.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Um, what was your experience with racial disparities here in Erie?
Man, what hasn't been the experience is probably, I guess, the more prevalent question. I guess like just to answer that, my first thing I would say would be I've experienced more racism in Erie than I ever have in North Carolina, and I've lived over uh, all over the state. You know what I mean? It's a special brand of prejudice here.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like very deeply entrenched in the community, um, and it's not everybody. We know that. You know what I mean? But uh, the atmosphere in which we exist is very segregated. You know what I mean? You could kind of live almost two different existences, and I was able to witness that just being able to go to schools like Prep and Mercier's Prep, where I was afforded opportunities to be in situations that had I went to one of our city schools, I probably would have never been in those situations. I probably would have never came across or networked or met with some of those people. So um, yeah, it's almost like we're not almost we're it's definitely a heavily uh, segregated society.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so since you're from a family known to be rooted in civil activism, what triggered your need to join the fight for your community?
Um, what triggered my need to join the fight? Well, because my family is such, I guess, a force for like civil rights um, in the area locally. It's kind of always been something that I grew up with. So just growing up, I was always participating in marches that my uncle would be organizing, or events that my dad would be organizing, even down to like helping like feed homeless people, and try to organize like some drives actually within my company that I do with my brother, but we didn't. It's kind of hard to do on your own. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess like what I wouldn't really say I actually had a trigger to be like involved in the community, but in a more like recent scope of things, obviously this when George Floyd died in the way that he did, I feel like it definitely sparked a sense of urgency in a lot of people to kind of check their surroundings and to really I say increase their awareness of what's going on. You know what I mean? Uh, it kind of put people in a position where it was so egregious that uh, if you have any type of moral decency, you're gonna find an issue with that in a way that was carried out. So like it's I feel like in a more recent scope of things, the George Floyd incident, among a slew of incidents like it, Breonna Taylor, um, and then, obviously throughout the years, you have the Philando Castiles, you have the Sandra Blands, you have the Tamir Rices, and Trayvon Martins, Michael Browns, and the list goes on, and it shouldn't. But, I feel like that George Floyd event, when that happened, it kind of, it was such a jarring experience. It made people kind of jolt to reality like, oh, wow, is this really where we are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you spoke about your business.
Yes.
Can you? What's the name of your business?
I have a company called Majorcoin. I really like to refer to it as a brand more than a company. Um, just because we don't really want to pigeonhole ourselves in any one category. We make music, we make clothing, and I guess the primary message or the primary message behind our business is living life on your own terms. And living a life that you're passionate about doing. We believe you can make money and not only make money, but be prosperous and abundant doing things that you love to do. It's a reason that those gifts have been placed in you, and it's up to you to really hone that and figure out your life's purpose. But that's the way I lead my life. That's the way my business partner, my brother Kenny Bass, that's the way he leads his life, and we try to, I guess, just be an example or a beacon of human potential. So everything that we do, we're trying to do it to the highest level that we possibly can because we're people that are really geared towards self development and personal growth. So yeah.
Okay. And so like when did your company start?
Officially, probably about 2.5 years ago. I want to say we got our LLC, yeah, like 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Prior to that, we were functioning for probably about a year. We had another brand that we were a part of, but we ended up parting ways and starting up the brand that we have now. And since then, we've just been keeping the ball rolling. Honestly,
Okay.
yeah.
So we talked about George Floyd as you said. Describe the feeling that you felt when you saw the video.
Well, first of all, when I saw the thumbnail of the video, it was a I saw it so much I didn't immediately click on it, like, cause it was just it's so tiring seeing black people get killed online or on TV all the time. It seems like there's another person every single day. You know what I mean? And so I didn't immediately click on it. Um, and when I saw that I couldn't avoid it, you know what I mean? As bad as that sounds, but that seeing that constant stream of just violence on people for you know minor offenses, if any offenses, it could be traumatizing. You know what I mean? So when I couldn't get away from it, I actually clicked on the video. Man, I don't even know if I can describe the feeling because it was such a long video. It was like while you were watching it, you just got the sense that you were seeing something that nobody was supposed to see. You know what I mean? And it was tragic. It was inhumane. You know what I mean? You don't do that to an animal. You know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
snuffed that person's life out on camera, on film, and by his body language, he felt justified in doing so. You know what I mean? And you have the other officers that were there who were, I guess, just complicit in the whole action. Nobody did anything to prevent it or stop it or say, "Hey, I think you're going a little bit too hard. I think you're going a little bit too far." You know what I mean? It's just extremely disappointing to say the least. You know what I mean? It obviously you see how it played out on a global scale. People are enraged. People were infuriated. I can't even say the word right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People were mad. Like, you know what I mean? And rightfully so. Like, these are public servants. These are people that we're supposed to put our trust in to protect our communities, and um it doesn't seem like the black community gets that same protection. You know what I mean? They say protect and serve, but you know, protect and serve who? You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the sentiment. So
Yeah, I understand.
yeah.
So, I read an article of something you said. What did you mean when you said his death serves as a beacon?
I think just to kind of elaborate more on that, it kind of ties into what I was just saying. When he died, I feel like uh energetically, it's almost like a signal went out across the world, across the globe, and people, like I said, it kind of forced people to enforced an awareness on people that, people might have been uh wanting to shield themselves from for a long time. It kind of ripped back the curtain, to use a phrase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I meant when I said that when he died, I felt like it served as a beacon, almost like a signal across the world, because these protests are happening globally, um, and it is for George Floyd, because that was a tragedy, but it's bigger than George Floyd. You know what I mean? George Floyd was at that time the most recent manifestation of the issue. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and people all over the globe they're just saying enough is enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People want to be treated with dignity. Whether you're black, white, Asian, you know,
Mhm.
whatever you are, people just want to be treated with dignity. Like,
Yeah.
people want to be treated as a human being. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah. And how would you encourage others to check their community, to check their surroundings?
Um, well, I would say in checking your surroundings, that first of all starts with you. Starts you. I wouldn't suggest, like, going out and trying to be like, you know you do this wrong, you do this wrong, you do this wrong. You know what I mean? I feel like, first of all, we all should be doing what we can in our immediate environments to affect change. So that looks like being the change that you want to see. So, I'm proud of, like, the people that have been going out doing, like, the community, like, trash pickups and things like that. Environmentalism is not exactly what we're talking about, but that's, something that's in line with just the embetterment of humanity and our planet. You know what I mean? When your neighborhoods look nice, you have a little bit more dignity. In your neighborhood, you feel a little bit more pride. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, I would say just do what you can in your immediate surroundings. To me, that looks like, uh, trying to go hard with my company. You know what I mean? Trying to be excellent in every form. Like, but I know that might not. That's just me as an individual. I'm somebody that, I live an entrepreneurial lifestyle. That's what I like. But to somebody else, that might look like, um, investing a little bit more time, on the weekends or on the side, doing some more community work. To somebody else, that might look like, um, if you're a teacher, or if you have these skills, you might want to, take on somebody or help tutor some kids or something of that nature. Just using your gifts that you've been blessed with to bless other people and spread that.
Yeah. You believe in educating the community. How exactly would you like to see that happen?
In what sense?
Um, in with when you spoke with Mayor Joe,
Shimber?
yeah.
Yeah. About, I think in that particular conversation we were talking about voter education.
Oh, okay.
Um, and honestly, I feel like that. Well, I like to preface my statement. I'm not a politician. You know what I mean. I'm not a politician. But I feel like it would have to be some type of program, implemented, to kind of promote a culture growing up through the schooling system, that says, or that lets, students know that not only is it okay to participate in the political system, but you're needed in the political system. You know what I mean? This is how it functions. These are the people that are making the decisions in our city. This is who they stand, or this is what they stand for. You know what I mean? So that we can have a more, I guess, informed, voter base, because the more informed and educated your population is, as an area or as a city, the better you can do. So,
And for example, with George Floyd, just to get back on the topic with him,
yes.
were you expecting the community to respond how it did?
No, I wasn't actually at all. Um, in large part because of, what I said initially in the interview. The particular brand of racism that exists in Erie is, uh, very deeply entrenched. So, it manifests itself in, blatant ways and also in very coded and subtle ways. So that's not something I was expecting at all. But when it did happen, it I felt an incredible sense of unity being out there that at that initial march. I think that I'm not sure who actually organized it. It was three girls, I think, from like Gerard or McCain. I'm not sure. Um, and honestly, I don't even think that they thought it was gonna get as big as it was. But um, and taking part in the peaceful protests and marching through the city and just seeing the amount of unity or the amount of people but out that were out there, but the level of unity that was out there was beautiful, man. I was having conversations with people that I never would have met. You know what I mean? And it was peaceful. It was love. You know what I mean? It was just it was a great vibe, man. And honestly, it's that type of energy that we need more of. I spoke earlier about it being an atmosphere of like segregation and like separation. It seems like we live in two different worlds. Uh, on that day, it was kind of like the worlds blended and merged, and it was beautiful for real. But on a regular day, just as a black male, walking into stores, whether they be corporation type stores or some of our local stores, you know what I mean? I don't feel that unity. I don't feel that love. You know what I mean? I feel like a target a lot of times. Not in every instance, but in a lot of instances, you know, I get followed around, especially being a black male with hair and dreadlocks. You know what I mean? Like I get followed around in stores. I get the stares, the awkward looks. I get the purses being clutched, all of it. You know what I mean? And so, um, it's something. It's something within people that we need to work on as well. I would say because it definitely we need to attack policy, or attack or implement change through policy,
Yeah.
but policy isn't going to be the sole force that changes what we're dealing with because we're dealing with the nature of people's hearts. You know what I mean? So it that's where community building, I feel like community building efforts would serve a greater purpose. From the mayor's office, all you ever hear is community policing, community policing, community policing. You know what I mean? These are the same people that are going out riding through our neighborhoods 8 to 10 times an hour, just riding through, mean mugging people, trying to intimidate people, disrespecting people. You know what I mean? And it's like community policing. Yeah, we there needs to be a bridge between the community and the police, but community building is what we really need to be talking about, so that our residents, the people of our city, can get to know each other and live in harmony. You know what I mean, and not live in such separated
Yeah.
roles.
Based on your experience and what is going on right now, do you see any hope for change in the community?
I do see hope for change. Obviously, no significant change is gonna come overnight. Um, but I definitely do see hope for change. I see a lot of people who are, I feel like a broken record at this point, but like I see a lot of people who are coming into a different kind of awareness than they previously had, and who want to do something to affect their sphere of influence. You know what I mean? Because they don't agree with how things have been, and how people are being treated. You know what I mean? A lot of times this isn't the case for everyone because some people know. A lot of people they know. They know when they're being hateful. They know when they're being, I'll call a spade a spade. They know when they're being racist. You know what I mean? They know when they're weaponizing their privilege uh to 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 their benefit. But that's not the case for everybody. You know what I mean? And a large portion of people I'm seeing like definitely see the issue at hand and want to help. And again, that's the energy we need, obviously, because it takes all hands on deck. Because it's not really a black problem. You know what I mean? I know a lot of times it gets like typecast as that because we're black people, but it's not a black problem. it's everybody's problem. Until racism really gets addressed, there's going to be issues in every sector of society. Um, because at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all here. You know what I mean? Like I said, everybody wants to be treated with
Yeah.
dignity. You know what I mean? So until that gets addressed, like there's gonna be issues. So I
Mhm.
mean, it's a people problem. It's not just a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Hopefully we see significant change in our lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think we will. Um, yeah.
What have you been able to accomplish as an activist in the community?
I honestly, as an activist, see that's a tricky question because I don't really consider myself an activist. You know what I mean? Like how I conceptualize myself. I'm first and foremost I'm an artist. Well, first and foremost I'm a human being. You know what I mean? But I'm an artist primarily, and an entrepreneur. But because of my background and the way that I've been raised, those concepts and ideals of activism, those are things that I've grown up with, and you know that's kind of just part of who I am. So in my efforts, like I said, the way that I try to affect my sphere of influence is um, black excellence by being excellent. You know what I mean? I want to take our company to heights that you know I haven't seen anybody do in my immediate family or you know my immediate surroundings. So in my music or in our clothing, again, the message that we try to promote is a message of personal growth and self development. So to tie it back into your question about activism, I think honestly it looks like the responses that I get to people responding to the various creative efforts that we put forth. You know, it looks like people, uh, not that you do it for the pat on the back, but you know, it looks like people going out their way to to
Show
contact
support.
us and yeah, and show support and to let us know, you know, we see what you're doing, we believe in what you're doing, you know, we want to help, we want to because of the message, because of what we stand for, you know what I mean? And activism is, I would say, embedded throughout that whole
Process.
yeah.
Okay. You said a new generation from one of the articles I read, a new generation of active voters have
Yeah.
emerged. Are you referring to Erie Equal, the group, or?
Well, I was referring well globally, like I was
Mm-hmm.
saying, the George Floyd
Oh, yeah.
instance uh sparked a I feel like a global shift in consciousness to an extent.
Okay.
So I feel like that's what I was speaking towards. But locally, yes, with Erie Equal, it was amazing to see that group almost grow overnight to like 3,000 members or so. And it's not just young people. You know, there's all types of people in that group. And so they seem a lot more energized than like you know what I mean than people have been like
Mm-hmm.
so yeah I guess you could say I mean it's like one of the those if the shoe fits type of scenarios, but I wasn't speaking specifically about Erie Equal, although yes I feel like Erie Equal is locally, yeah, they're definitely gonna end up energizing some more people. There's already 3,000 or so plus energized people. You know what I mean? Now, if we
Yeah.
can get those people out to vote, you know what I mean, then that's a different story. But that in itself uh, is a game changer. You know what I mean? That changes the conversation a bit.
Mm-hmm. What relation do you have then to Erie Equal?
I'm just a member of the group, to be honest. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a politician. But I was helping, like early on, I was helping plan or organize a few different initiatives. Uh, but yeah, I don't have a specific role in Erie Equal. Honestly, if I was to say my role was anything, it's just to push conversation and I guess like I would say affect uh mind state and concepts, because like I said, I'm somebody that's really geared towards personal growth and self development. So that's what I would be on.
Yeah, and I read an article you had on your website
Yes.
in regards to why certain people doesn't come out and things like that. Can you elaborate?
Yeah. Being in these communities, you know what I mean. I know a lot of people. I've had the opportunity. I feel like I'm in a unique position to have had the opportunity to uh, be able to exist in a few different worlds. With me being able to go to Catholic school from a high school experience. But throughout that whole time period, I'm from where I'm from. Uh, Meaning like I'm from the Lower East Side. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know a bunch of people, and I just know the element. You know what I mean? I know what's up, and a lot of those people, the people that these issues are directly facing, are already wrapped up in the system right now. Like, you know what I mean? And they don't want to. They don't want to be out there for for lack of a better phrase, for no BS. You know what I mean? They don't want to be out there putting themselves on the line to just catch more flack from the system, to be dealt with harsher. You know what I mean? They don't want to. It's one of those things to where it's like I said, it's so deeply entrenched up here that a lot of people are hopeless. Not, I wouldn't say people are hopeless, but a lot of people feel hopeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like it's not going to change. A lot of people feel like, what's the point? A lot of people that these issues directly face, because 8, 9, 10 times an hour you got the police riding through your neighborhoods. You know what I mean? They pulling over, don't let you have made a mistake, or have any priors or anything. They treat it like a life sentence, even if you did do your time and got out. You know what I mean? Pulling over on you, messing with you. You know what I mean? Intimidating, or trying to intimidate you, or trying to provoke you. It's at a certain point, it's like, as a human being, as an adult, I won't even say as an adult, because a lot of times it's happening to these kids and these minors as well. And they're minors. You know what I mean? Like, they're not adults. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you can't treat people like that. So I mean, that's what I was speaking towards in that article. People don't think that the community of Erie really cares. You know what I mean? Really have their back. So they'll go out and put themselves in this position, and then when the smoke clears and the dust settles, they feel they'll be in a worse position than they were when they started out, because they chose to speak up, because they chose to, you know what I mean, say that this is wrong. Even if I made a mistake, or da 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 da, or this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you get to just treat me like I'm not a person. That doesn't mean you get to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not how that goes. So,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, that's how that's going.
Yeah, I hear you. And which is like so devastating.
Yeah.
With the different Erie city officials that you have worked with, do you feel any is really listening?
When you say work with, define.
Or spoken with?
Oh yeah, all right. I definitely like that term a lot better, because I haven't worked with any of them. But spoken with, we spoke with Joe Schimber. We spoke with Ed Brzezinski. We spoke with Michael Keys. We spoke with Michael Outlaw. I forgot the young lady's name. That's also on Mayor Schimber's cabinet. But she was on one of the Zoom meetings as well. Um, Out of all those people, I feel like Michael Keys probably he was the and the lady whose name is escaping me right now. But more so Michael Keys. I feel like he was the one person who was really engaged and really uh wanted to make a difference. I feel like Michael Outlaw definitely wanted to make a difference as well. and might really believe that the things that they're doing are making that difference. But I feel like Michael Keys would probably be the one person um, that was in on any of those conversations that kind of has somewhat of a grasp on what the community is feeling. You know what I mean? Being that a lot of these efforts that they're putting up for diversity and inclusion are empty, and they're not really solving the issue. You know what I mean? Uh, One of the things that we talked about in the Zoom calls were community benefit agreements. Um, to which Mayor Schember told us he didn't have enough information on the community benefit agreements to make a statement on it. Somebody like me, I'm wondering how is that so when there have literally been experts that have flown in. You know what I mean? They've held seminars and everything. To educate on this exact topic. So it's almost like a slap in the face. I feel like because we were so young, they felt, I say they loosely, it's not everybody, but the administration felt like they could just tell us anything, and it would just ride. And I kind of feel like that's very telling. You know what I mean? The way that people handle situations is very telling. And what it told me was that they wanted to make us feel like we were heard, to pacify us or to quell any dissent. You know what I mean? And once it became clear that that tactic wasn't going to work, they cut off all communication. So, I'll leave that up to, people to judge, for themselves. But, you know, somebody shows you who they are, you should probably believe them. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you can't have somebody running around saying that they're committed to diversity and inclusion and then play around on something like community benefit agreements, which could ensure that the residents of Erie get some type of benefit out of these corporations and companies that are coming in Erie and developing. We need something other than $9, $10 an hour paying jobs. That's not a family sustaining job. You can barely sustain yourself on that. You know what I mean? These are the things that are occurring. So it's like, come on, man, get it together. If that's what you say, if that's what you say you're committed to, be committed to it, or get out of office. At least that's how I feel. And that's not an attack on Mayor Schember. That's a statement about anybody who holds any elected position. You know what I mean? You're there for a reason. And the community deserves better.
Yeah.
A lot better.
Explain community benefits. Like.
Some piece of policy or legislature put in place to ensure that the city of Erie is properly compensated from these new building development projects. You know what I mean? People are getting these 10-year tax breaks and then applying for 10-year tax breaks on top of that. You know what I mean? All the while, our tax base is being depleted. You have organizations, literally, it almost looks like they're clearing out the Lower East Side. You know what I mean? There are whole blocks of houses that are gone. Now, that I grew up with, looking at, like, their whole blocks are just gone. You know what I mean? Green space now. So you're knocking down properties and buying them underneath entities that don't have to pay like proper taxation on it. Is placing a heavier burden on the tax base, the tax-paying citizens of Erie. If that's the backdrop, and we're having all of this new construction and development coming on in our city, we need to do something to prop our city up to make sure that the people of Erie don't get left behind this economic wave that's coming to Erie. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely coming. You know what I mean? The only difference is, or the only, point of emphasis is like, where are you going to be at it all, like throughout it all? You know what I mean? I see it right now. I'm literally going through an instance of housing discrimination right now. You know what I mean? And while I'm sitting there trying to get through my situation, I'm trying to find other houses or other apartments. I'm seeing the prices are already they going up, they going up, going up. You know what I mean? It's happening right now in real time, and pretty soon, if there isn't anything put in place to ensure that the people in our community who are already struggling, if there isn't anything put in place to kind of bring them up to speed somewhat, you know, they're gonna mess around in these neighborhoods that traditionally, we've all been in. People aren't gonna be able to afford to live there anymore. We talk about neighborhoods that are prime real estate. If you really want to break it down, they right on the water. That's what it's like. Monopoly is being played. You know what I mean? We don't have any grocery stores like beneath 12th Street. Like, you know what I mean? They knocked down a McDonald's and put up a curling rink. That's disrespectful. You know what I mean? That's a slap in the face. It's basically telling you we don't care about you. We're gonna do what we want to do. You know what I mean? And come on, man. I'm not inferring that the city of Erie bought McDonald's and
Yeah,
tore
yeah.
down. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, I
Yeah,
figured you meant the corporation.
yeah. That in particular was EDDC. Who has their own brand of whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? They've had their own controversy. So
I understand you have a strong suit in music.
yeah.
When did it start?
Oh man, I've been making music my whole life. Honestly, I come from a very musically oriented family. I would say almost to the same extent as the activism. You know what I mean? Um, I have various aunts and uncles who have went off and pursued their passions toward Europe. You know what I mean? Ended up in various different parts of the country. Um, and that's on my father's side. And on my mother's side, I have cousins that are currently touring right now in the gospel circuit. They play instruments, guitar and drums, and they're pretty successful. So from both like aspects of my family, like I come from a very musically oriented family. But like writing, I started writing music when I was probably about 8 or 9, possibly 7. Obviously it wasn't that great, but it was good to me at the time. But it kind of just grew from there. It was something I always did. I didn't always like I guess being an artist was the first thing that I wanted to be, but I didn't think it was a realistic uh, path for me. Because my life didn't look like, obviously I'm 7, 8, my life didn't look like any of the music videos. You know what I mean? I just didn't think that I would ever have anything to talk about, or for real, really, in hindsight, what it really boiled down to, I didn't see the value in my story. You know what I mean? um I guess this is kind of like a sidebar from exactly what we talking about, but I guess I just want to like go into that just a tad, because I'm sitting here talking about personal growth and self development. I just make that short, but in hindsight, that was me experiencing something as a child that I didn't really know how to interpret. So it came in my mind as I don't think that I can do this because my life doesn't look like this. You know what I mean? But in hindsight, an adult, that same instance, really, I can see that was me feeling like my story didn't have any value. My life didn't have value in that sense. You know what I mean? In the sense of an artist or being a rapper, because my life didn't look like those things. So I only like single that out to tell people or to let people know that, like, yo, no matter what you're doing, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, if you're man, if you flip burgers, it be the best burger flipper you can be. Like, you know what I mean? Real rap, like, you might mess around, come out with a TV show, but like, you don't ever. I want people to like take, like, very clearly hear that. Don't ever disrespect yourself by thinking that your story doesn't have value in it as well. There's somebody out there waiting to be affected by your story, to be inspired by your story, to be motivated by your story, to have their brain chemistry changed by your story. You know what I mean? So I want people to like very clearly hear that. Don't shortchange yourself in any of your endeavors. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Where do you see the strongest effects of your music?
I would say that response is similar to the activism response. I see the strongest effects in people's responses to
Mm.
our creative efforts. So um, I literally had somebody tell me that they were listening to one of my songs. It was about two of my brothers, both who are deceased now, but at the time they weren't. They were both dealing with uh, the jail system, prison system. You know what I mean? They're both incarcerated. I made a song about them, and somebody had, contacted me and told me that when they heard that song, it made them cry. Um, and that was the first time that had happened to me, to where somebody had told me like my one of my like something I did made them cry. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know that. I didn't know that I could create anything that could strike a chord that strong. You know what I mean? At the time, uh, but I would say like it's instances like that. People messaging me telling me, bro, man, this specific song right here, it helped me get me through my SATs. You know, when I was studying, boom, boom, boom. This song right here, man, you don't even know, bro. I was going through that. That I can't believe that you even said that on the track. This song right here, oh man, bro, listen, when I heard that, it made me put this down and da 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 da. Like you know what I mean? It so to me that's what I do it for. I love getting those responses and just seeing how my music can affect people in real life. Cause like at the end of the day, any creative effort that you have, that's your gift to the world. You know, it's yours while you're making it, but once you put it out there for public consumption, it's not really yours anymore. It's the world's, and it takes on a life of its own. So when that's uh, respected and appreciated and valued, it is no other feeling like that, honestly, that I've come
Mm-hmm.
across.
Who are your favorite artists to listen
Um, Kenny Bass, my brother, honestly.
to?
He's my favorite artist. I love his style. But beyond him, I guess mainstream, I like Drake. I feel like he's just doing it at a super high level. Um, I like Jay-Z, obviously, just his entrepreneurial mindset. Um, oh, I guess I'm getting into two different things. If we talking about, are we talking about
Oh,
musically or?
oh yeah, yeah. Who's
Okay,
your favorite artist? Yeah.
well, yeah, musically, I like Jay-Z as well too, and Drake. And I say like, right now I'm listening to a guy named Babyface Ray out of Detroit. Um, but yeah, I those that's kind of my influences right now, or what I'm playing. Um, but beyond that, as far as just figures like in the rap game that I respect and would want to somewhat model uh, what we're doing after, I would have to say somebody like Master P. Um, Tremendous respect for him. You know, he took a $10,000 uh, uh, settlement check, from when his grandfather passed and turned it into a $250 million empire. You know, uh, black owned, and he just does it at a high level. You know what I mean? Product person. With Majorcoin, we're in apparel right now, but eventually we want to branch the product. Uh, uh, just because, like again, creative efforts and giving it to the world is kind of what we're passionate about. So right now, it's in the form of music and clothing, but eventually, that'll manifest in a variety of forms.
Yeah, okay. Um, who inspires your music, or what inspires your music?
Me, just being real. Me, my life. Um, my music is
Your
very
life experience.
personal. Yeah, it's very personal. I talk about a lot of things that a lot of people probably wouldn't be comfortable talking about, and also I lived a life that a lot of people probably haven't lived. Like I said, I've been able to exist in a few different worlds, and because of that, I feel like I have a unique perspective that I feel like people find value in, but that I find value in myself. Um, so I would say my biggest inspiration to make music uh, is myself, and again trying to better myself in my situation. I'm real passionate about that. You know, I feel like I wanna I have a family, I have a legacy to uphold to an extent, but I'm an individual. You know what I mean? And everybody has their own life path, and my life path as an artist and entrepreneur, I just want to do it to the highest extent. I want to add to my family's legacy in in uh in my own individual way, in the way with the gifts and talents that I feel I've been blessed with. So yeah.
And any other artists you've worked with?
Um I mean, I really don't work with too many people, to be honest. I keep it pretty much in house. Kenny Bass, um, there's an artist named Thrax. He just put out really interesting Thrax and Bills Up. Bills Up is an engineer and producer, but they just put out a project um today. I want to say called Phases. It's on all streaming on all Apple Music or all major streaming sites. But I work with people that I know in real life and respect. A guy named Uptown Maine, out of the Bronx. He's based in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Though he's seeing a lot of traction. And then I got some collabs, I guess, with production with like names like OG Parker. I think I did a song with Bills Up. I collabed on that. And yeah, man, I'm just trying to grow what we have organically um, into, you know, into something amazing. Yeah,
Okay. Based on what you're saying, I understand the type of artist that you aspire to be.
yeah,
You know, you want to build something and give it your best, and you want to encourage others to build something for themselves and to give it their best as well.
yeah. So I'll push self sufficiency and independence. Like I said, that's one of the main reasons why somebody like Master P would be somebody I would look up to. You know what I mean? As far as like I don't really subscribe to like the belief of like role models. You know what I mean? Just cause like everybody is a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and I feel like you should be forging your own path in life. But somebody like Master P, somebody like Nipsey Hussle, Currency, um, even even Birdman, not down to everything that he does, but the way that he had started his company and everything. Those are in somebody like Jay Prince. Those are just to name a few uh, moguls, I would call them. You know what I mean? That's what I'm setting out to do with me and my brother Kenny Bass. That's what we're setting out to do with Majorcoin. You know, it's and just having that type of I guess that type of goal um man makes life so interesting. Like I said, I'm somebody that feels like you can live a prosperous and abundant life doing something that you love to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What goals have you set in place to move in the direction?
we try to we're trying to move our company into well, I'm trying to move our website into being more of a digital asset. So I want us to do a specific number of sales and a cash amount per month. So I guess we're just like trying out different promotions. Obviously, we're still doing or designing you know, different pieces and things like that to help push those cash sales. But that's a company goal. And outside of that, musically, we're always just trying to level it up and strategize different ways we could use the money that we're generating to expand our platform, so we could keep doing cool, dope things.
Okay. And what do you want to tell other young people like yourself who want to make a change but don't know how?
I would say you just gotta do it. You gotta dive in head first, um, and just know that you're gonna make mistakes. Know that it's not gonna be perfect, but the perfect situation doesn't really exist. I can use myself as an example. I'm not telling anybody to do this, you know. So let me just put a disclaimer out there. I'm not telling you to do this, but You know, myself as an example, I was like battling like some real depression, like, you know, and while I was in college, and I just wasn't happy there. You know what I mean? I ended up dropping out of college. Actually, I don't have a college degree. You know what I mean? Um, I I ended up dropping out of college to pursue this music, you know, career that ended up turning into Majorcoin. You know, but it wasn't Majorcoin to begin with. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
it kind of took me down a path and a journey that I would have never expected to go on. You know what I mean? I only say that to say there's gonna be ups and downs in life with anything that you do. So I'm of the belief that if I'm gonna experience ups and downs, regardless, I'd rather experience those ups and downs doing something that I love to do, doing something that I'm passionate about doing, because you know that passion, that love for what you're doing, that's gonna carry you through those dips and those valleys of life. You know, because those dips and those valleys are gonna come whether you're doing what you love to do, or whether you're, you know, working a job that you absolutely hate. You know what I mean? It's gonna come. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
gonna so me personally, that's how I kind of get through, and I'm infinitely happy for the decision that I made, because it was a decision to to uh I guess walk by faith and trust my intuition. You know what I mean? And uh it's yielded over and over and over and over again. You know, I'm not the richest, you know what I mean, but we're seeing success in our company. We're seeing growth with how we're positioned, and outside of that, like I said, personal growth and development. I've seen so much changes and growth in myself, and during this time period, or during the time period of where, you know, I dropped out of college uh, to now. You know, dropping out of college was just the act, but that might not look like the act might look different for somebody else. You know what I mean? Meaning the act of uh, finding your own individual path. You know what I mean? You can live a life. That's what I say when I say we want to promote living life on your own terms. You know, I could let 1,000 people dictate the lifestyle that I live. You know, I could have let 1,000 people tell me, oh, you need to do this, you need to be a politician, you need to be the activist, you need to da 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 da. You know what I mean? That's not how I live my life, because I'm an individual and I just ain't going for that. So you know what I mean? That's kind of what I promote. I want people to feel confident in their decisions and feel confident that, yo, it's gonna sorry, it's gonna be ups and downs, you know. But you
Yeah.
know, man, you gotta tough it out sometimes, because it's worth it, man. And when you doing what you love to do, I'm telling you, it's like it's like God. You know, for the people that don't, I guess, subscribe to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, though, that higher power, you know, they want you to win. He wants you to win. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That force, it wants you to succeed. When you go out there and you nervous and you on stage, you know it might be 5 people in the crowd, or it might be 500. You know what I mean? Those people didn't go give their money up to see you fail. They didn't want to. You know what I mean? They don't want to see you crash and burn up there. They want to see you do good. They want to be entertained. They want to see a good show. You know what I mean? Things work when you're on your path and to finding your purpose. It's like you're aligning yourself, you know what I mean, and things start to flow much more naturally and easily for you. And that's not to say that, you know, bad things won't happen. Plenty bad things have happened in my life, you know, very traumatic things that, you know, I'm still trying to deal with, but I found a way to deal with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that through my artistry. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy for that, and I wish that for anybody, you know, in any of their endeavors. I want people to feel a sense of fulfillment with what they're doing in life, because I know that money isn't everything. You know, you can be making a whole lot of money and still not feel that sense of fulfillment. So that's really, I guess, the core of what the type of lifestyle that I want to live, and what I want to promote, what I want to give out to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And before we go, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah, actually, right now, if you go visit our website, majorcoinco.com, if you put your email in, enter I guess our mailing list, and you'll get 15% off your purchase. Plus you'll be in the system, so we'll start sending you different promotions that obviously other people won't get. So, take the time to check our website out. And check us out on YouTube too. We got a few very interesting podcasts. So our YouTube is just search Major Coin. We'll pop right up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.